Hi, welcome to another episode of the Naina Redu Experience. I wasn't really sure where to fit this in. I wanted to talk about a conversation I recently had with one of my friends. I guess you could say the conversation is going to be about women post 40, I suppose, or even divorce. So I guess relationships. I really did not know where to categorize it, but I thought I had to get it out of my system, and I've been thinking about it since I had the conversation about a week ago. And it was bothering me, and I wasn't sure why it was bothering me. So it just started with, we were talking about getting married, and is it important to get married, and what are the advantages, and what are the advantages of not being married, and for men and for women, etc. And during the conversation, one of the things that came up was that my friend said that they knew many women who were in their 40s or who had just turned 40 and who were also divorced and who were having sex with a lot of men, and the word that was used to describe them was that it felt like these women were rudderless. And I was like, I honestly did not know how to articulate myself, but at that point, and I was like, there's just something icky about that word or that description, or thinking about a woman having sex with multiple men as rudderless. I mean, are you saying that the rudder is that one dick that's supposed to be in your vagina for the rest of your life, and that's the rudder? I mean, it just sounded really ugh. And I was like, why did that conversation bother me so much? And I've been thinking about it. And finally today I was like, wait a minute. So that's where that dick and vagina analogy came around. And I was like, if a guy is in his 40s and he is divorced and, I think he's almost applauded for finding more women to have sex with and multiple women to have sex with. But if a woman, like for example, I am 40 and if I get divorced now, it would be, and it doesn't really stay a secret in your circle of friends. If there is someone that you're being intimate with, your friends do find out, you do talk about it because you are also probably trying to make sense of it, and people find out, and then suddenly if you're a woman, it's like, oh my God, she's sleeping around with so many guys. Like, has she lost it? And for a guy, it's almost like this, अरे cool यार, divorce हो गया तो क्या हुआ? You can still have sex with so many women. And for women, it's almost like, oh, you got a divorce now. Who are you going to have sex with? Is it going to be safe for you? Like, you'll have to be careful. So there are so many problems with that statement. I mean, from the one aspect, obviously, is the safety and security bit. I mean, it's not like you can just go and have sex with any random person. It has to be someone that you kind of know is in the same circle of friends. Again, if you are somebody who can have a one-night stand without even knowing the person at all, that's also fine, I suppose. I mean, I'm not one to judge you, but for women, it's even more scary because, I mean, in general, guys are more physically powerful, right? They have more strength, they have more muscle. This is like a scientific thing, right? So you have to be careful, and having sex is like such an intimate situation that you really kind of need to know the person. And then on the other hand, it's like you can be married to someone for 20 years and not really know who they are. So how do you bring this thing together? These are two separate ends of the same spectrum, the same problem. And then we grow up in a society where it's like, yeah, I mean, you get married once and getting divorced is not really encouraged. I mean, I'm once divorced. We got married and then it didn't work out, and it was a mutual divorce. We even hired the same lawyer to get a divorce, so it was that kind of mutual. It just wasn't working out, and it made no sense to zabardasti stick it together just for the heck of, society ki arey inka to divorce ho gaya. Whatever. Now I've been married for 10 plus years to another guy, obviously. And so far it's fine, but I mean, it's not like, oh, we can't even bring up the word divorce. I think we discuss it pretty openly. What would it mean if we ever did get separated? Would we be friends forever? So how can you not talk about these things? These are important things. And then, even with things like, I mean, I have friends who are in open relationships, which means that they can have sex with other people. not just their spouse. And there are so many variations of this. I mean, I met a couple recently and they were like, yeah, we are in an open relationship. We've been married for a year, and the only thing is that we will not tell each other. Like, if I go and have sex with another guy, I won't tell my husband. And if my husband goes and has sex with someone else, he won't tell me. And then I was like, but how does that work? Why wouldn't you tell each other? I mean, maybe not describe the intimate details of a relationship, but at least you should know. I think so, because as we talk about it with friends. So if you're a couple, aren't you a friend to each other? And shouldn't you then have each other's back? Again, I don't really have an answer to this because I am right now not in an open relationship, but I think these are important things that you need to discuss with each other and figure out what it is that you're comfortable with in your relationship. But I certainly don't think hiding, lying, or deceit of any kind is healthy for any relationship. But again, who am I to say? I mean, I don't really know how an open relationship works. Not yet anyway. So I've been thinking about these things for a few months now, and I always keep coming back to open communication. And there's this thing, facts versus interpretation. Like, would you rather have your partner interpreting your actions and assuming the worst, or would you rather have a conversation based on facts where you say, yeah, I've had 2 partners, and I have had myself checked for HIV, for STDs, for whatever, and everyone's being clean and everyone is using condoms. And I mean, because you want to keep your partner safe. So these are conversations that you should have. And I don't think that it is still looked down upon a woman to have multiple sexual partners, which is, it is what it is. It is ridiculous in my opinion. I mean, and we do live in a country like India, and there are these things like societal norms where, like I said, 1 woman, 1 guy for the rest of your life. Rudder. But I don't know if it works for the couple, if they're okay with it, if they're okay exploring additional sexual partners, then, who is anyone else to judge and say that you shouldn't be doing these things? If they are not doing anything to harm someone else, right, then I don't see how it's a problem. Another interesting aspect that came up was that, we were talking about it hypothetically, that if we were to have an open relationship and I met someone who was really cool, and, how do I present to them that I would like to have a relationship with them, for example, or I would like to have sex with them? Like, do I, it's not, again, I am at least past that age where I want to play games and stuff. I mean, flirting is nice, but I would much rather approach someone and be like, hey, we've hung out for a while, I really like you, I can see that there's some chemistry, and I would like to make out with you. And, we were just talking about it, and I was like, I don't think anybody who knows the both of us, for example, is ever going to say, yes, okay, let's do it. Because we are both friends with them, and they know my husband and they're friends with him, and they'll be like, oh my God, no, like, you're married. So then what do I do? Like, even though, for example, if me and my husband have agreed that it's okay to have an open relationship, how do I then, put a banner on my head going around saying, oh, I'm in an open relationship, I am open to having sex with someone else? That's not how it works. So then I can't then drag my husband and be like, okay, you have to tell this guy that I'm in an open relationship. The thing is that I think for women it's a lot harder, because you are always assumed to belong to somebody. Unless you're outright single, then it's different. But, and then if you're single and you are having sex with a lot of men, then you're like, oh my God, she's rudderless. She doesn't know what she's doing. But if she has a solid career and she's doing well in life and is, well settled, financially independent, etc., even then, just because she is having sex with multiple men, she is rudderless. I cannot get over that word rudderless now for some reason. But for a guy, if he's financially independent, he's successful, he has a good career or a good job, he can have sex with as many women as he likes, and he's not rudderless. Like, he might not be in a stable relationship, which applies for the woman as well. She's not in a stable relationship, which is fine. But rudderless? Really? I judge my friends so hard. But I think it was a casual conversation. We didn't really get into the details, so I will give them a pass for now. But I think I would like to bring this up with them again and maybe talk about it and try to figure out what it is that they were trying to say. And for a lot of us, especially younger people who are still trying to figure out whether they should get married or not, it is definitely a question of them judging their own selves and thinking, hey, maybe I will be judged rudderless if I don't get married and I have sex with multiple partners. So there is an element of that, and that applies to whether you're a girl or a guy. So it's not just for women. We judge ourselves whether we are men or women, and we judge ourselves pretty harshly. So this whole thing of, if you get a divorce when you're 40, it's scary. Who's going to, look at you as a desirable person anymore? Who's going to want to be with you anymore? And I'm like, it's a whole wide world. You never know. You can't, if you have come to a point in your marriage where it's not working, then just rip the band-aid off and get a fucking divorce. Like, especially, if you have kids, I can understand you might want to stay together for the sake of the kids, but even then you could have an amicable relationship with, each other, even if you are separated and divorced, even if you have kids. There are examples of couples who make it work, who live in different apartments in the same residential society, or who live in homes quite close to each other, and the kids can freely move between two places, and then the independent parents are having relationships with other people, and it is possible to do it. But the problem is that the word divorce connotes this ugly thing that, oh my god, it's terrible, and no, it's not. It's just another breakup. You can keep it amicable, you can make it angry and ugly and dirty, and that happens usually when your ego gets in the way. And shit happens, things go wrong, and if it's not working, it's not working. Divorce is not the end of the world. We all dated people when we were in college, and we broke up, and we are friends with some of them. It's fine, really. I think if we looked at it a little more objectively, then it might work. But if we constantly think of what society says, or what will our parents think, and really, our parents have lived their lives the way they wanted. They didn't ask us permission, right? So I don't understand why we are stuck with asking permission from them for everything. It's nice to have advice from people who have your back and who really love you and care about you, but that is the extent of their advice. It will be biased based on their experiences and their life, and so will your answers and questions be based on your biases. You have to be aware of these things and then make a decision and don't just look at the short term that, if you're getting a divorce or you're getting rid of somebody. Look at it in the long run, that you really want to lose a friend. Anyways, we barely have any friends. If you're married to somebody, I'm assuming that you're good friends with them. And if you're not, then maybe you should be. And it's never too late to put in more work and effort into your relationship, whether it is with your spouse, it is with your parents, or with your friends. You really have to put in effort. It's not shit that just works. Everything requires effort. And over the years, you grow, right? So you grow as a different person, your partner grows as a different person, and if you can grow together, I think that's ideal. And shit will always go wrong. You have to remind yourself of what is the goal. Like with me and my partner, it's always, we want to grow together. We want to ideally be together when we're doing that growing. But we're also aware that maybe at some point things will be different, in the sense where we're not growing in the same direction, and we would still like to be friends and be involved in each other's lives to whatever extent is reasonably possible. So I don't see why these things should not be talked about and shoved under the carpet and be like, oh my god, how can you even mention the word divorce? Really? We're all going to die. I think death is a much bigger fear than divorce is. Would you rather die leading an unfulfilled life full of regrets of the things that you should have and should not have done? Or the things that you could have done, the things that you could have changed? We are all going to die. There is no doubt about it. It's the only certainty in life. So just, be fine. Be fucking rudderless. Who cares? Really, who cares? Are you happy? Are you feeling content with the life that you're leading? Then who gives a shit whether me or my friend thinks that you're rudderless, yeah, I guess that's probably what I had to get it out of my system. This is one of those atypical Naina Redhu experience episodes. I wasn't really sure if I should even include it in the podcast, but hey, it is my podcast. It is called the Naina Redhu experience, and I thought, if someone wants to listen to it, great. If they don't want to listen to it, fuck it. I was anyways going to upload it. So maybe I should mark it as NSFW, because I don't think this is something you should be listening. I mean, at least in India, people will be like, oh my god, she's talking about dicks and vaginas, and like, oh my god, fucking divorce, and like, ugh. So there's that. Yeah. Do you think we should do more of these? I mean, I don't really want to give relationship advice per se, because, I mean, I'm not an expert. I'm not a therapist. You should go to a professional therapist. You should go to a professional counselor, a psychologist, somebody who can help you deal with what's going on in your head, instead of talking to 50 of your friends who don't know any better. It's fine to offload on your friends for a little bit, but really, why would you want them to suffer? Instead, go to a professional. It's like if your foot is hurt, would you go to your friend and be like, "Arey, mere ko chot laga hai, look at it, what should I do?" Go to a doctor. No, you go to a doctor and they sort it out, you pay them and they do their job. So similarly, if there's something broke in your head, go to a doctor. Somebody who can help you out with your mental health issues and give you tools to deal with your anxieties and your depressions better. And really, I think that is highly recommended. It just makes me really sad when people say that, if a couple is having issues, it's between the couple and they should sort it out. And I'm like, it's like, you, like I said, you are injured on your foot, it is in your body, so you sort it out with you and your body. Like, why do you have to go to a doctor? It's just, really, don't think like that. It's become so mainstream now, going to a therapist. It's really a no-brainer. If you are having doubts about a relationship, about anything really, and you're having a conversation with someone who's from your peer group and who comes from the same generation, who doesn't really understand that there are other possibilities open to you and to them, then you're just getting bad advice. So it's better to go to a psychologist who can look at you objectively and give you objective advice. Instead of making it about, oh my god, society and your parents and all. No, what is good for you? What is good for your mental health? What is going to make you happy? You have to figure it out eventually, but they can help you get on that path. My god, it became like a whole, I started from rudderless and I came to, you have to take care of your mental health, because that is the only way you're going to make balanced decisions to whatever extent is possible. And it's not only good for your personal relationships, it's also good for your professional relationships. You'll do better at your work because you'll be more clear-headed. There won't be things that are holding you down, and there's not a constant spiral of thoughts in your head that keeps pulling you down. So it has benefits on many levels in many aspects of your life. And I would think that instead of taking your parents' advice, you should really talk to a good therapist. Alright, that was another episode of the Naina Redhu experience. Please tell me if we should do more of these. If you have questions around this that you would like me to talk about and discuss. We can even combine this with Instagram lives and say that, if you've looked at this video and if you have questions and, there's something that you disagree with and there's something that we need to talk about, maybe we can kind of do that also, so that it isn't just a monologue like right now it is. And once again, thanks for listening, and see you in another episode. Bye. Take care.